Something rather interesting's been happening the last few days, hasn't it? Or more correctly, perhaps even unhappening? Myself and everyone else included pretty much expected this month, Pride Month, to be like the preceding Pride Month and the one before that and the one before that, with every single corporation on the face of the earth sending up loud and bright virtue signals flashing across the skies in the hope of being considered an ethical corporation. An oxymoron if ever heard one, but details. And yet this year, no. In fact, apparently the exact opposite has been happening. Just yesterday I was talking about this with V on the ArchCast, where we looked at Xbox, one of the few companies to still have their Pride logo up at the time, and then, just today, they changed it to this one. Whoa. I wonder why. It's on fire too. Is this some sort of subtle commentary on the burning in eternal fires of hell? Referencing perhaps the previous one? No, I don't think Xbox are quite there just yet, but this is very interesting, isn't it? And it's been happening all across the board. Even the progressives have been noticing, and they're getting a little bit worried. Oh, as much as I hate rainbow capitalism, it is also a scary reminder of the times ahead that companies don't find this profitable enough to their usual pandering bullshit anymore. Correct. You have managed to push the pendulum so goddamn far that it isn't going to take decades to turn this thing around like it took to get the progs into power. It is going to take a couple of years at this rate. And he brings up Coca-Cola, Spotify, YouTube, Apple. You can look through them, like even companies like Activision Blizzard haven't bothered to slap up a rainbow logo this year. Now, they will still take your money, mind you. I saw one progressive reply that I found rather poignant. Paraphrasing, they will still come to our events, the corporations that is, and they will still sell us mugs with a rainbow flag on it for double the price, but they will no longer show their support publicly. Precisely. Absolutely 100% accurate. Because Coca-Cola, for example, they're not going to put out their little Pride PNG in public. They're not going to actually show their support for you where other people can see it. But if you want to pay $15 for a mug with a rainbow flag on it, go ahead. If you want to pay them $3 for a sticker, you are welcome to. They'll have a wide range of various nonsense to free you from your cash if you should so choose. But in public, no more. In large part because of the backlash that hit Target and Bud Light. Vox here is saying Target giving in to conservative pressure on Pride is not a great sign. Oh, I disagree. See, if this was 2016 YouTube, I'd be playing the clip from Starship Troopers here. You know, the one, it's afraid one. But in this day and year, that's probably going to get me a copyright claim. So, you know, just imagine it in your head there. Because they do realize that, this does mean that they are losing ground. Target organized a massive Pride thing where they're going to have lots of stands, they're going to have lots of merchandise, and they were going to put it front and center in the store. It was going to get pushed on everyone who came to visit. In fact, this was then completely reversed. I have several sources now from inside of Target that have told me that they were first instructed to put this up front, right at the entrance. It would be the centerpiece of the store. But once the backlash started rolling in, back of the store quick. And even then, I have heard now from, again, multiple sources that Target's sales projections are down by anything from 5 to 10%, which is catastrophic. For a company like Target, that is billions of dollars lost right there because of this nonsense. And, they did also do a pretty big whoopsie here. Target partners with Satanist brand for Pride collection Live, Laugh, Lesbian, as one of the designers they hired had apparently said Satan respects pronouns. Okay. Right. We're no longer in the hardcore conservative Christian phase of history, Target, but this is a bit much. See, this is one of those things, isn't it? It's like the Grammys or whatever in England a while ago, where that dude whose name I can't even remember, the incredibly look at me person who did a set on stage dressed up as Satan. It is literally like something from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when they're like, oh, those silly Christians, this'll really piss them off. At this point, you're not pissing off the Christians. Like, there was literally a joke, I remember, from a stand-up comedian who was like, why don't you joke about the Muslims, but only joke about the Christians? And he basically said, well, because the Christians aren't going to do anything about it. Whereas the Muslims, well, you know. And, well, after now 10, 20 years of constant abuse, it turns out that they've gotten a bit sick of it. Weird, I know. And when you're selling paraphernalia like this is the Disney merch that are currently selling. This is a toddler's onesie with the love slogan on it, Mickey Mouse in rainbow colors. Now, of course, we know what this means. Love is love. This is also the slogan of the MAP movement. And for some weird reason, I don't know, I feel like people might object to a pedophile slogan on a baby's piece of clothing. Ah, it's weird, I know, but nevertheless, it seems reasonable to me. Target even had their stocks downgraded, which is perhaps even more catastrophic than the loss in sales, because that means that they will have millions, probably billions of value just slashed off the top of their company overnight. And this, of course, also comes on the heel of the Bud Light Dylan Mulvaney controversy, which has cost them some $27 billion now. Yeah, unsurprisingly, a lot of other corporations are looking at this and going, maybe not. Maybe the ESG money, which is drying up awfully quick these days, really is not worth it anymore. Because you gotta actually have to rely on your customers now. Now that the investor money is getting further and further and farther between, you can't simply rely on somebody else injecting money into your company. You're actually gonna have to go back to selling something a lot of these companies haven't really been well prepared for, as it turns out. And it's also just the new cultural zeitgeist of all of this. It has become very, very cringe to do this, and people are willing to go out of their way to inconvenience you in return, as the Target boycott shows. People are creatures of habit. In all due likelihood, people have been shopping at the Target store for years because it's the closest store, or it's the store they know, or yada 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 yada. Is that like that clip from the stadium arena, where you saw people staying in line for a different brand of beer, whilst there was no line whatsoever for the Bud Light? People are now, crucially, willing to actively inconvenience themselves just to give you the middle finger. That is the point you know that you have pushed the consumers way, way too far. The Navy, hilariously enough, a US Navy, put up a Pride banner on Twitter. They also posted this cringe-ass piece of shit on their Facebook page. And about a day later, it too disappeared, with the US Navy now being back to their good old-fashioned grey colours yet again. Because this just isn't popular anymore. The Major League Baseball organization too, they've been having quite the backlash for a while now about their Pride Night celebration. They put out the rainbow-colored logo, etc., and then very quickly turn it back again, less than a day. This also is because, well, again, it is obvious. Washington National pitchers Trevor Williams and Dodgers pitcher Clayton Kershaw take issue with the planned appearance of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence on Pride Night, this being the Major League Baseball's organization. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Let me just repeat that one more time, because the first time I heard it, I was like, you must be shitting me. No, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, taking the piss out of Christianity. Yes. Yes, they are. This is their costumes. They are mocking you, and they are doing so very, very obviously. Again, 20, 30 years ago, I might look at this and go like, ooh, that's rather edgy. Like they're mocking Christianity, the, at the time, currently dominating power structure. Now, several decades later, Christianity is no longer not even just not the dominant power, it's not even on the radar. You are basically just kicking somebody who's already down. And God bless the Christians for this, honestly. No shit, I'm not much of a religious person myself, but again, for decades, they've just been taking this shit and not really reacting. But after, again, decades of being the joke, of being the laughingstock, of having this shit pushed down their throats day in and day out, well, turns out, getting a bit sick of it now, unsurprisingly. And, well, with stuff like this in stores, with headlines like this, etc., you don't need to wonder particularly long or hard on why they're gaining a lot of public support for this. It's like, the opposition has gotten so thoroughly ridiculous at this point that their slogan becomes shit like Satan respects pronouns. And part of this is also because they realize that it's not edgy anymore to try and mock the Christians, and so they go further and further and further until they become the parody that they wished to originally make. And then people turn around and well, hold on, you're an unironic Satanist? Are you sure that's a wise thing to be? Oh, no. Apparently, some people do think so. Live, laugh, lesbian. Cure transphobia, not trans people, etc. It's not working out very well for Target, and judging by, again, the response of the corporations, bear in mind too, this is a major decision for a company. To go from this, a very clear, blatant and strident announcement of your support of a political cause, to this, burn in hellfire. Like, most of these companies can't figure out whether they are to shit or get off the pot half the time. And yet, they have made the decision to reverse on a political statement like this in, like, 4 days, tops, if we assume they went out with this immediately. The earth is a-shaking, friends, and for once, it's not quivering beneath our feet. Quite nice, isn't it? Especially as the opposition too realizes that all of that rainbow capitalism, all of that thing you hated, the stuff you never wanted to support, the things you continued to punish for trying to pander to, well, turns out if you don't actually replace the customer base, sooner or later the companies will have to go back to the people actually paying the money. Weird, I know. Anywho. Happy day. Until next time, I've been Arch, thank you all very much for watching, and happy reverse Pride Month. Have a good day.